Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. Today I'm showcasing the Ornamental Envelopes bundle, which is bundled with the envelope dies, and you can find it on page 40 of the new August-December 2020 mini catalogue, which launched yesterday. It's not just for envelopes, it's also for cards as well. The envelope dies are for cutting envelope liners from a designer series paper. This one will cut a liner for the 3x3 inch envelopes. The smallest of this nest of dies here, this one will cut out an envelope liner for the note cards and envelopes, and these ones cut out an aperture like so. The next one up will cut the envelope liner for an ordinary C6 envelope, which I've done here, and this one, the largest one, will cut out a liner for the assorted memories and more cards and envelopes, and these come in sort of 6.5 by 4.5, and that one is 4.5 by 3.5. In fact, this one, if you see, there are holes on there, so what it does is actually it measures the where you can cut the liner. So these are just markers. Can you see that? Little holes. Maybe you can see it better on this side. So these holes there mark the different size of envelopes. That one is for the 3x3. That one is for the note cards and envelopes. This one is for the C6, and that's for the largest one. You can also cut strips to cover the outside flap like so. And that is the other aperture that it cuts. These other dies, this will cut out the baubles here, and these two little ones will also cut out the smaller baubles there, and this one cuts out the flowers here. You can also use the stamps to decorate your envelope like so. And I've stamped it 3 times here on the back as an example. Now here are some examples of the cards I made using these stamps here. I just put it on a Stamparatus and stamped it once in garden green and once in real red. Then I used the die to die cut all the baubles, so then I could put them on the cards, different ones on the cards like so, and you want it nice and flat, so I didn't put too much dimension on it. This is just one of the stamps. It's this stamp here, which you can see is just a semicircular arc. It's not quite semicircular, but it's an arc, and I stamped that against crumb cake and used this one to stamp the berries in Whisper White, and then mounted it on a crumb cake. So it doesn't have to be Christmassy. You can use different colours to give it a spring look or an autumn look, which I've done with this card. This is the card we're making, so let's crack on to make this card up. I also used the beautiful autumn stamp set, and this has been bundled with a set of 3 punches called the Autumn Punch Pack. There are 2 leaves and an acorn, and you can find it on page 46 of the new August to December 2020 mini. Last but not least, the Banners Pick a Punch, which is also new in the August to December mini catalogue. Find it on page 65. The card base is in Bumblebee, and that has been cut at 8 1/4 inches by 5 7/8 inches in metric. That's 21 centimeters by 14.85, and fold it in half. There is a pumpkin pie layer which is 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches in metric. That's 12.7 by 9.5. There's a Cajun Craze piece which is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8 inches. That's 9.2 by 9.2 centimeters, which fits snugly on top of that. And then the whisper white layer that you're going to stamp on, which is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 inch squares. That's 8.9 by 8.9 centimeters. For the inside of the card, you need a whisper white piece that's 3 3/4 by 5 1/2 inches. That's 9.5 by 14 centimeters. A strip of Cajun Craze for the label, which is 1 inch by 3 3/4 inches. That's 2.5 centimeters by 9.5 centimeters. Scraps of pumpkin pie, Cajun Craze and Bumblebee to punch out the leaves and the acorn. Bumblebee gingham ribbon. I've already pre-tied a bow to save time. Early Espresso, Cajun Craze, pumpkin pie and Bumblebee inks. Versa Mark, an embossing buddy if you have one. This is sadly retired. And white embossing powder and a heat tool. Meadow Moments embossing folders. These come in a pair, and we're using the leaf one to emboss this portion of the cardstock. It just uses the ordinary cutting plates, so it's just the standard cutting plate, and you'll find it in the annual catalogue. Holiday rhinestones. And last but not least, the Stamparatus. Now, I've already set up my Stamparatus to stamp the wreath. And for this, you also need a template to put your square in. When the Stamparatus first launched, it was all the rage to do this wreath stamping. And at the time, I created a template so that you could put your square inside this template and keep rotating it to stamp with. And you create this effect. Now, if you're new to Stampin' Up and you've never done it before, I have got a video. It's about 2 years old now, and I'll provide a link at the bottom of this video in the Show More section so that you can have a look at it. So let's get started. I've got my mat on because this is a photopolymer stamp and I need a cushion. So first I'll ink this up and stamp. Rotate it clockwise to the next notch. Stamp again. I'll keep rotating it. Now I'll switch sides and then stamp these little dots, which are the berries, and I want them in autumnal colours. That's why I chose different shades of this. So I'll alternate the colours, starting with Bumblebee, then Pumpkin Pie, then Cajun Craze, and I'll speed this up as well. You have to clean your stamp each time you change colour, of course. And now I've finished stamping my wreath, I can glue that onto my cardstock. Leaving an even border all round. Next I'm going to emboss this. Now this runs lengthways on the side, but I want it on the bottom, so I'm going to insert my cardstock this way round and get as many leaves as I can in the frame, and then I'll run that through the big shot off camera and I'll be back. I've embossed that. Now I shall put this onto the pumpkin pie layer, leaving an even border all round, and then stick that onto my main card. So now I've got a bit more stamping to do. I'm going to bring in my foam mat, use the embossing buddy to powder the strip for the label so that I don't get static everywhere. Bring in my Versamark ink and stamp in the centre. Sprinkle white embossing powder over it. Grab the heat tool and emboss this. I'm going to be using this flag tail one. So this is an inch. It will cut 3 widths, so it's an inch, 3/4 of an inch and 1/2 an inch. So slide it in, make sure it's in the middle, and then punch. Curve that a little, just using my fingers. Grab some dimensionals and just pop it on the back. Glue dot to stick on the end to keep it in place. Bring back my foam mat and do a bit of stamping. Ink it up with Cajun Craze for the acorn, and the acorn is this way round. So punch the acorn out. Stamp this long leaf with Cajun Craze as well. We need 2. I had to stamp it again because when I was trying to be clever and I stamped it at an angle, and then I couldn't get my punch in, so I had to stamp it again straight. And last of all, the one in pumpkin pie. And before we put the stamps away, let's stamp the inside of the card. So I've inked it up with this solid image and I've stamped off once, then overlay it with the other stamp. Now we can adhere this piece for the inside of the card. And I'll use glue dots to attach the leaves. And last of all, for the acorn, a dimensional to pop up on the middle there. Another glue dot on the back of the ribbon, and pop some rhinestones there. And one down here. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial, and pop back for more inspiration next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.